Good morning. It sounded so breathy. Good morning, everybody. Of course, I don't have my contacts in. So, what I could see naturally, well, when I had contacts in, now I can't see at all. Do I have to do the show with this like this? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Listen. In the name of being honest, let's have a conversation. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As you file in, I need to drink some water. You all should be more awake than yesterday because we're late. I have a good explanation. However, I don't think you'll necessarily accept it. You know, when you remember when you used to show up to school late and you're like, and the teacher or the principal like, why are you late today? And you tell the principal or the teacher and they're like, I'm gonna have a conversation with your parents. And you're standing there like, good luck. Who y'all gonna talk to? But here's the deal. Good morning. I could be doing nothing. Look, I take my glasses off and I can't see a thing. I could be doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. Nothing could be going on. Nobody's in town. There's nobody inviting me to the club or to the restaurant or anywhere. Nobody's here. And everything is fine. The minute I put my mind and actually start doing something, isn't there a law to that? What's the law? Not law of attraction, but there's something else to it. The minute you start doing something and all like, okay, so here's a better example. Better example is to all of my single folks in here who are watching or who are listening. Hello, because this is also being repurposed and reused. Maybe that's not the right word, but this is also my podcast. So for people who are listening to me and you are not live, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Natasha Simona sequence. I have a whole drop and everything, and I haven't even loaded up in here yet. But to the people watching me live and can see me and I can wave to you, good morning. Now, to my single folks, here's the deal. When you're single, you're like fighting. Like, can anybody see me? Single, sitting here in the corner? Does anybody know I'm single? I'm turning to dust. You better come get me, right? Nobody calls. Everything is like, what's happening? The minute you get into a relationship, what happens? All the old people start calling back, right? You got all the exes, all these people you were interested in call, and you're like, where were you last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago? All of that to say, shout out to my people that I was with last night. We had a time last night. By accident. By accident. When I tell you I'm minding my business, you are my business. Literally, you are my business. Anyway, shout out to my good friend Key. I'll put up a photo later, so if you want to see, just go over to my Instagram stories. I don't know. Maybe I said that prematurely. I'm a very private person, and so I don't know. I'll see. Um, if you're watching me right now, I don't necessarily know what to do with this light. we might just call it a light from God at this point, because the light, I don't know, maybe if I, let me see, if I scoot this way, you know, I don't know, the light looks like it wants to guide me. We'll just call it the guiding light. Got to put something there. But nonetheless, minding my business, and my friend comes into town. He's actually been here, but we were supposed to get together in his early part of the trip. You know what I'm saying? When I had nothing going on. And the funny thing is that a lot of you who know me in the real life know that I'm up very, very early. So whether I go out or not, my body gets up at the same time every day, because I also meditate. Same time every day I'm awake. So doing this live in the morning is not a big deal, because I'm like, well, when I finish my meditation, I have nothing else to do, and sometimes I go back to sleep, and that's not productive, because for shout out to everybody in here who meditates. Maybe an air horn wasn't necessary. It's too early for that. But nonetheless, you feel powerful and you feel clean, and you feel like, I want to do something very productive after do you fall asleep after your meditation? Sometimes I fall asleep during the meditation, and it's like I'm up and I'm like, and then I look around and it's like 6:00 because I get up at like 3:30. But at any rate, this all goes back to when you have absolutely nothing going on. The minute you set your mind and your body and your intention to do something, and you plan it and you do it, everything else pops up, and you're like, where was this before? So on top of me going out, the meditation session, so it's like now everything is affected, because you got to get through meditation. Well, today I might be a little bit unhinged, just a little bit. I did not have a meditation session at all. I had about an hour and a half, barely, of sleep, which is why I have yesterday's makeup on. Really, it's last night. It's not quite yesterday, but this is definitely a walk of shame face. And then you all know I don't drink. I do not drink. So having a glass of wine, having a margarita, having anything in my system is like overload galore. Because I don't drink. So when I do drink, it's like my body is like, oh, we're going to absorb this immediately. So I take 2 sips of this drink, and I knew in the back of my head, you better not even think about going to sleep, or you're going to miss everything you have to do in the morning. So thank you for waiting for me. Moving on. Shout out to Key. And shout out to my new girlfriend, Mia. So I pull up. Okay, so here's the deal. I pull up to the spot where we were, and I see my friend, and he's so cute to me. He's like 6'4" and just cute. And I see this gorgeous woman sitting across the table from him. So I'm like, hello? What's happening here? Hello? He told me a friend was coming, but he didn't tell me gender or anything. So I was thrown off. So I get to the table, and she is like, she's shorter than, well, is she shorter than I am? I think we're the same height, but we both were wearing, what shoes was I wearing? Was I wearing heels? No, I was wearing like a little tiny wedge sneaker, but she was in heels. So I sit down and I'm looking at her. I'm like, oh, I said, you're really beautiful. I said, he did not tell me that the friend that was showing up was a girl. And she starts laughing. I said, why didn't you tell me she was a girl? Because I'm sitting next to him. And she's really cute. I said, you should have told me she was a girl. But now I want to know who are. Hello? We get to talk, and it turns out we're repped by the same agency. So that was fun. Um, I'm signed with a boutique agency. So it's a small agency. It's cute, and we're a small little family. And so when I meet people who are part of the talent roster with me, it's a moment. Like we have a moment because we're like, how are you signed to the same company? And so we took photos, and she sent it over to the agents. Like, look at this. It's a small world. So it was cool. It was a really, really good night. We broke bread. I got to see my friend. And I did something I don't really do. I drank. So now I'm sitting here paying for it, wearing last night's makeup. Well, actually, an hour and a half makeup that I had on an hour and a half ago. I saw somebody ask me, when do I sleep? I don't, because I'm always going, and I'll take a nap later. Today, in the name of getting this going and getting you off to work, if you're at work already, depending on where you are, good morning. It's 21 past the hour. So here's the national days. I'm corny. One thing you're going to learn with this Natasha Simona sequence is I'm very corny. I like these national days. I don't know sometimes where they come from, but I do get my national days from, I think, a reliable site, and they give all this like information on when the day came into inception or is it inception or conception? Here's where I wish my English teacher was like sitting on my shoulder with a dictionary. But I like reading them because I'm always curious to know, like, how did this come about and why do we care and what do we do with it? So today is National Chocolate Milk Day. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to drink chocolate milk? Or are you going to give it to your children or something like that? It's also Corned Beef Hash Day. Corned Beef Hash Day threw me off because we're like at the end of September, and I thought corned beef was a thing that you do in what is the month that the green people, the Irish holiday, what is it called? St. Patrick's Day. So that's weird, but today is National Corned Beef Hash Day. Today is Crush a Can Day. I'm like, who cares about crushing a can? Well, the day is you observe it by recycling or taking a can and squeezing it, for all of you people who need some good anger management. It's Scarf Day, National Scarf Day. I don't know about you, but where I live in Los Angeles, it's hot like the devil. So wearing a scarf is very suicidal. It's like, what are you doing? That wasn't nice to say, but it really is. Like, are you trying to suffocate yourself? It's very hot, 95 degrees. And it's also Day of Forgiveness. So if you need to forgive someone, do it today, because today, they said today is the day. And so, heal a relationship, forgive someone, all of that stuff. So that's what it is. Oh, and it's National Security Officer Appreciation Week. I like that one because without our security guards, some of our buildings, some of you who have security detail who watch me, you have a security detail. You have, if you work in an office building, the man and women downstairs in the suit who say, Natasha, so-and-so is down. No, I don't have a doorman building, but I do have a security. So shout out to Carlos. That's really his name. That's not fun. That's not funny. Carlos is a very nice security officer. When I come in late, because all of you know that I do ride share work and what do we say it was called? Gig work. And so when I come in really late, I ask Carlos, can you meet me upstairs at my parking space just in case the boogeyman is there? When I was really big into watching Stranger Things, I said, what if the Demogorgon is upstairs and it eats me before I get to my door? Don't make me laugh. But now I tell him, I said, can you just come upstairs to my parking space and make sure the killer isn't there? Or sometimes I have him like kind of meet me around the corner. My walk to, from my parking space to my apartment. I'm like, can you just meet me at the corner so that way, just in case I go around the corner and the killer isn't around the corner? And he's like, are you really afraid like that? And I said, yes. Maybe if my mom was here or, I lived with someone, I wouldn't be so fearful. But trust me, when I'm out, I'm like checking the cameras. What happened in the last 6 minutes? Because that's enough time to get up the elevator, down the hall, and around the corner or up the garage. What happened in the last 6 minutes? Okay, did anybody go past my door? Did a boogeyman come into my apartment? Are the hallways clear? And here I am walking the hallway like a freak, like this, watching the camera live as I'm walking if I can't get Carlos to walk me. And I'm watching my camera and I'm watching around the corners and I get to my door. If you've ever talked to me on the phone when I'm getting out of my car, I'm so annoyed when I try to hang up the phone. So if you know me in real life and you've ever called me and I'm like, okay, I just pulled into my parking space, I'm home, please know that that is your key to hang up. Like, that is absolutely the key to hang up so that I can look at the camera and watch my walk just in case there's people. You know what I'm like? I'm a fraidy cat. But if you stay on the phone with me, that means I might need extra support just in case the Demogorgon eats me before I get to my apartment. So if I'm talking to you on the phone and now, because, okay, who else gets nervous when you're on the phone and you transition from the car or wherever into your home and you get quiet? So you're talking and you're like, yeah, that was a good time. And oh my God, the food was amazing. And now all of a sudden you're walking in, like you're walking into your house. And then you go, so anyway, listen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the other person is talking so aggressively loud all of a sudden. And you're like, I'm being quiet. You be quiet too. And you're like, mm-hmm. So then I'm walking quickly because I'm like, just in case the Demogorgon or the boogeyman comes to get me, at least there's somebody on the phone as a witness. Like, she just got home. She's probably in the hallway bleeding out. So I run to my door, like, as, not crazy because I don't want to look crazy on everybody else's camera. So I kind of do like a fast walk hustle. And I get to my door and boop, and then I go inside. But I race myself to lock the door. So in my brain, it's a race. So when I get to my door, okay, I wish I had a set of keys here, but I don't. Because, I like props. It's different when when you have props, it's a little different. So here I am. So we're going to pretend like here's my keys. Okay. So when I get to my door, I get there really quickly and I'm on the phone, or actually, no, so a lot of more times than not, I talk on the phone on speaker. How amazing that my tripod just broke live. So I get to my door and I'm on the speakerphone, and this is my phone case. So this is the actual size of the phone. And I'm like, this person on the phone is talking. Like, read the room. Read the freaking room. Just be quiet. Can you imagine? Then I get to my door. Mm-hmm. Here I am entertaining. Okay, so here it is. And action. Here's me pulling up to the parking spot. Okay, well, listen, I just got home. Oh, you still want to talk? Okay. Okay, let me grab my bag. Hold on. Okay, you're still talking? This is me in real life. I literally ask people, like, if I said bye and you're still talking, I said, oh, you really need this conversation. Sometimes it's more than likely it's my mom. And she'll be like, anyway, you little bitch. And she's still talking. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just going inside the building. Here I am grabbing my bag. Now we're walking to the door. Here I am looking And I'm walking really quickly. And she knows the steps from the apartment to the front door. Then, I get hustle with my keys. And here's the keys. Boop! And then I close it. I close the door and I stand there and I push the door and I lock it so fast because I'm racing. Because in my brain, the killer is like coming around the corner. I beat the killer. Now the killer doesn't know what apartment I live in. Nothing. I can't be the only one that also looks through the peephole to see if there was anybody. If anybody is walking by, immediately trying to find you. Insert the music, the aggressive like music that they play in the scary movies. So now here I am looking through the peephole, holding my breath at the same time. And here's the phone, and I'm looking, and here's my mom on the phone. Hello. Tosh? I'm like, Mom, just give me a second. What are you doing? And she gets loud. And I'm like, I'm looking through the peephole. She goes, Jesus Christ. You can't be this scary. And this is me looking at the phone. All right, let me call you back. I just walked in the door. I have to go use the bathroom. Okay, whatever. And then she hangs up. And here I am looking through the peephole again. Looking to see if like a slimy alien or, somebody in like a Jason mask. I'm very nervous. I saw somebody say I need to get a ring. Somebody in the comments said I need to get a ring. I have one. I have a ring. This is how I'm a fraidy cat. Okay. So Daisy says, you are supposed to get off the phone when you get out of your car. I know. I try. But sometimes it's like the person that I'm talking to doesn't want to hang up. When I get to the parking space, I'm like, all right, I'm home. I'll call you back in a few minutes. And they don't want to hang up. So I got to go through all of these like gymnastic hoops so that the people on the phone don't realize that Natasha's a fraidy cat. So sometimes I keep them there because just in case I get eaten by the boogie monster on the way from my parking space to my apartment, maybe there's a witness. Maybe so sometimes I don't release the call because I'm like, at least you're going to be a witness to my demise. Don't laugh at me. Because what are my kids going to do? Especially if they're here with a sitter or if they're not here at all and I come in and I'm all by myself. Or like if I have to run out and like I leave the kids here. Ooh. The way I run in the house and they know do not scream at me. Mom! My kids used to do that. And it's the cutest thing. Mommy! And they come and they run and they hug you. All of that was cool when we lived together as a family. Because their dad, he's like all big and tall and, he's not scary, but, intimidating. Like, come and run, leave the door open and drop the bags at the door. My babies. And then we had a dog and the dog would come. Hi, Astro. And then he would come around the corner. Huh. Anyway, that was all cute when I had protection. Now it's me by myself. We don't have a dog anymore, unfortunately. But my kids know, first of all, they're big now. Don't run your big asses over to me at the door. Let me come in the apartment so that the boogeyman cannot hear. So let's move away from the door. Don't scream at me at the door. Move away. So hopefully you have learned from me and you have gathered some tips on how to do this life. Mrs. Preston said, not the Jetsons dog. Who, Astro? Shout out to the dog that I once had. You want a story time to know what happened to my dog? You know what? That's not what I was going to get into today. Y'all know I'm the queen of notes. I've got it all here. Well, obviously I don't have all of this worth of notes for today, but my notes is here. My mom called me yesterday. She said, you need to do something to teach people how to show prep. I'm like, first of all, thank you. I don't play around. I always have notes. When I don't have notes, I feel completely unhinged and like, oh my God. So we're gonna go into a story time. I'm also doing laundry at the moment. So if I have to back away and go switch some clothes from the dryer to the washing machine to the dryer, you're just gonna have to hold me down. Because when I came in my house an hour and a half ago, when I walked past the laundry area, what do you think is in front of the laundry area? My son, my 13-year-old's gym clothes. Now, mind you, when they came home on Friday, they had a long weekend. Shout out to all of my Jewish brothers and sisters that's in the building watching and listening to me. Happy New Year. I don't know how to properly say it, but I'm going to try. Lashana Tova. Is that how you say it? Mazel tov. So my kids were off from school yesterday. So they had 3 days to bring me all of the nonsense out of their book bag that, paperwork that needs to be signed, gym clothes that needs to be washed, everything. Empty out your book, your lunch box and all that stuff. Well, they don't. And so, good morning, Rick Party. Everybody say good morning to the Rick Party show. I ran out of, I didn't run out of time. I just didn't properly do what I needed to do. And so you guys want to hear something? Because this is what you'll hear every morning. Hold on a second. Let me get it together and you'll hear this.
Sit back and relax. It's time for the Natasha Simona sequence. Sit back and chill.
Hello? You're not supposed to hear the rest. So thank you, Rick. Good morning, Rick. Rick said to take them to the laundry room with me. Well, they pass the laundry room on the way to the kitchen every day. And, sometimes they want to learn how to do the laundry themselves, which is great. My mom, when she came for Christmas break for the holiday, she taught the kids how to do laundry, and she did laundry with them. And I have it all on video, and it was a whole moment. When you go to my kids' bathroom, I try to teach them, but let me tell you something. Sometimes I have to pick my battles. And the laundry lost with me. So I'm like, I get to a space where I'm like, just forget it. I will do it myself. Take us with you. Y'all want to come with me to do laundry? Well, we're going to go on a field trip. How about it? Can we play that drop one more time?
Sit back and relax. It's time for the Natasha Simona sequence.
Thank you so much. So, Bestie says, I wash every day. I wash every day I used to wash every day. And the trick to that is taking off your clothes and putting it in the washing machine and then running it at nighttime. But in the name of everybody wearing different colors, different textures, things like that, I had to stop because some of my clothes was getting ruined because the kids wear harder clothes. They're boys. Well, not to say girls don't wear hard clothes either, but they're stuff, and they're big. They're big. So now I've got, their clothes mixed in with like some softer material, satiny material. It doesn't work. And now my clothes, So I take the time and I separate it. Now I do laundry every 2-3 days. And that's kind of how it works in here. But my son, they bring their gym uniforms home and he waits until the very last minute for me to wash it. And it is the most infuriating thing. So I got in my house like literally 2 hours ago. Literally, I got home about 2 hours ago. And I walked past the laundry area and it's his gym clothes there. So, and you all, those who came here and you were on time, I was late. I'm literally doing a walk of shame right now. Shout out to me. Anyway, listen. I'm going to give you a story time. Okay? I mentioned Astro's name and then somebody asked what happened to Astro. So, it's story time. Here's the short, long end of the story time. Back in 2016, I almost died. It's hot in here, and you want to know something? I sleep naked. Wait a minute, that wasn't the story time. Now we got to start over. It's story time. So back in 2016, I almost died. Yes, that's a true story. Yes, that's real. April 2016, I almost died. And although the message is about Astro, my dog, I want you all to know that stress can kill you. Many, many people ask me, how did you almost die? Stress will kill you. I am a living testimony to let you know stress will absolutely kill you. My body had, literally, I had no more fluid in my body. The emergency room doctor said, you were breathing your last breath. I was like, hello? On my dying day, I was funny. He said yes. So I'm in the hospital. I get rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. It was dramatic. It was dramatic. So the lead up to it was, so here's the lead up. Oh God, this is a story. I don't know. My stories sometimes are so it's so many layers to it that it's so hard to get I'm obviously telling you the story so we could talk about my damn dog, Astro. But now I got to give you the backstory. And the backstory is So here's the deal. This is right around the time that things in my house was in my household at the time was looking way down. It was way downhill. Okay. Y'all better buckle your seatbelts because this is more than talking about what happened to Astro. I have to get this out. So things weren't looking good between me and my children's father. It was like, this is really, really bad. And my children at the time, they were the ages 4 and 6. They were 4 and 6. And I was just like, it's time to go. There's a lot happening here. It's time to go. You're on your next level foolishness. I don't have time to be chasing behind you and the circus of women you keep bringing in and out of my house, making me, you know what I'm saying without going there. It was just like, I'm exhausted. You could be the community property. Please go. You gotta go. But the high levels of stress that I was going through in that time period literally took me out. Almost took me out. I stopped eating. I stopped drinking. The stress levels were crazy and my body literally was experiencing a real life nervous breakdown, as in my nervous system was shutting down. And if you have never experienced what a real nervous breakdown is, you lose your feeling. I had like little burns because I was burning myself. I couldn't really see. I couldn't really talk. But as my health was declining, because it wasn't like I woke up one day and boom, 0 to 100 real quick. It didn't happen like that. It's a gradual decline. Do you understand me? Can you hear me? Are you guys hearing me loud and clear? Hello? My body was gradually dying. I was experiencing gradual death. But I didn't know that. When you are so used to operating on autopilot, you're just going, okay, got to get up, one kid goes to Maria's house, the other kid goes to school. Okay, Maria needs this for her house for this kid, school needs this. Okay, got to show up to this meeting. Or okay, my man is out here being community property. He's giving me hell and stress at home. Okay, thank God for my friend in the building that was like trying to, help me some way, somehow. Okay, who else are you going to talk to about this? Everybody told you to leave this relationship 1,000 years ago, and here you are. So you just internalize everything, keep everything to yourself, and you just keep going. Okay, got to cook dinner. Okay, you're literally on autopilot. Okay. So I showed up to my kid's school one day. Now, this part had to be retold to me. And they had a PTA meeting. Well, actually, I can't say my kid's school. One kid was in school at the time. And he was in first grade. And I show up to the school. And I knew I wasn't feeling well, but I felt safer at the school than being at home with my little baby. Because, you know when something is wrong. It is very strange how that happens. And so I sat in the vestibule waiting for this PTA meeting to happen. And I sat there and I laid down on like this bench that probably could seat maybe 3 people. And I laid out. And I didn't wake up until it was almost lunchtime. Missed the PTA meeting, missed everything. I was out. They literally let me sleep. Well, that was a good thing and a bad thing. It was a good thing because in your brain, you're thinking she needs to rest. Let's leave her alone. It's a bad thing because nobody knew the severity of what was going on with my health. And when I got up, one mom, she said to me, she said, you looked like a zombie. She said, you had no color on your skin. She said, you looked very sick. Now, this was obviously pre-COVID. This is 2016. So when you saw someone that was unwell, you weren't afraid to help them. Do you understand? So she said you had no color. She said the color in your face was gone. She said my hands were very veiny. And she said I looked like I had lost a lot of weight very quickly. Like everything looked sucked in and unhealthy. So I said, well, how did I get home? Nobody knows how I got home. I have no recollection past that day until I was thrown into a wall. For anybody in here who is in a domestic violent relationship, leave. Whether you both engage in the violence or one person is the abuser, leave. And do not justify, well, I hit him or I hit her or she. Leave. Now, what I won't do is sit here and say he used to beat me up. Because I put my hands on him too. Y'all know I keep it real. I don't play those games. I don't play victim and I don't play the lying game. We had a horrific relationship. So I have no memory from when I told you I got up at the kids' school. I keep saying kids because my kids are in school, but it was my son's school because I only had one child in school. From that moment I got up, I cannot tell you how I got home. I can't tell you how my son got home from school. I can't tell you how he got to school the next couple of days following that. I can't tell you how the other kid got to Maria who picked. I have no idea. Oh, and poor Maria, shout out to Maria. She could barely speak a lick of English. So all she kept saying was, we had our own way to communicate. But she was like, "You're not well." She would tell me that, "You're not well." I remember I could hear her voice in my ear, and she would tell me, point to her couch to go. Now she literally lived like 3 steps away from my house. I don't know how I was functioning the next few days, but this particular morning in April 2016, all I remember is my children's father. I remember he called my mom and was saying a bunch of nonsense. And my mom was like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean she's not feeling well and you live in the house with her? Then do something. You take her to the doctor. Tell me what's wrong with her." I remember my best friend, who is also my children's godmother. I remember her banging my front door, and she damn near banged the door down. And all I remember is her yelling and screaming at him. And I think the anger that came out of her was the anger of every person in my life who hated the fact that I was still with him, screaming at him. And she was like, "Why are the kids still sleeping?" You know how you can remember little things. I was so in a daze. And when she came in the room and she saw me and she was like, "Is she drugged? Did you poison her?" And every word that came out of her mouth sounded like it was amplified times 50. Okay? I couldn't take it. And she got my son up, the one who had to go to school. I just remember little things. And then I remember her leaving. So I don't quite remember what caused her to leave. You know what I'm saying? Why did you leave me here? I need to go to the hospital. Do you know what I'm saying? But later on, she explained to me that I told her I was fine. I don't remember any of what she told me came out of my mouth. She said she'd never seen me look like that. And we used to go out and drink and party and all types of stuff. And she said she had never seen me look the way I looked. And she said, but because she had no idea what was going on, and she trusted that my children's father was being truthful, maybe I just had a long night. And she left because she's like, "Now I'm in this home. There's a man, there's a woman, there's children. This is your family home." You know what I'm saying? I don't belong here. I can't call shots. She said, "But you did not look good." So she said she took her cue and left. She said, because she was ready to strangle him. And I was like, "Oh boy," because I don't know. Well, whatever transpired from when she left, all I remember is my children's father standing at the edge of the bed, and he had his suit on to go to work, and he was shaking me. And I remember looking at him, and I remember him yelling and screaming at me. And he said, "You need to get the F up." And he took our bed and flipped it towards the wall, and I went flying into the wall. And that was that. And all I remember is grabbing my phone and pressing, when you have an iPhone, you press it for like 5 seconds and it activates. This was before, like, current day iPhones, when you press the button, it has all these series. You press it long enough, it makes that whoop whoop. This was before it did that. If you're a longtime iPhone user, you press the button and it immediately activated 911. And the next part of the story, the reason I can tell you is because the district attorney, the DA's office, played my 911 call for me. And the call went like this. When I tell you the way I cried in the DA's office listening to this call, he said, the Natasha sitting in front of me and this call, this 911 playback sounds like two different people. On the 911 call, the operator, she does her thing. 911, how can I help you? Blah, blah, blah. And all I kept saying was help me. And my voice sounded so gargly and foreign. I didn't recognize my own voice. If it wasn't captured by the DA's office, I would not believe that was me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So all I kept saying was help me. And the 911 operator said, because when you call from a cell phone, it I don't know. When you call 911 from a cell phone, I wish there was a way they can automatically pin your exact location. I don't know if that's changed since 2016, but she asked me for my location and my address, so I'm giving it to her, and all I kept hearing is ma'am, stay with me, and I requested 2 ambulances. Someone took a photo of the scene outside of my building. They blocked off my street. I lived on Edgecombe and 160th Street. They blocked off. So on Edgecombe were the 2 ambulances that I requested. And between 160th and 159th, they blocked off that whole street. I was like, what the hell? And my neighbor, he's like, he always calls me Brooklyn. He's like, Brooklyn, what the hell was going on? And I said, I don't know. Because I did not know. When I listened to the recording, I am trying to verbalize to the 911 operator that I was thrown into the wall. I need help. I started the way my body was shutting down, I started to feel like I was suffocating. Everything was off. My entire body was numb. I could barely walk. There was so much going on. I was so unaware that I was literally dying. And I was at the same time fighting to live. Hello? Okay. So when they found, so now I've got what feels like the entire NYPD squad in my apartment, and they've got a stretcher ready. They're casing my apartment. They're casing the building. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And all I remember is the cops. So my baby was home. I had not taken him to Maria as yet. And the other one, my older one, he was in school. He went to school. The father took him to school. So now it's just me and the baby at home. He didn't take him to Maria yet. That's, I guess, what I was supposed to do. And all I remember is I'm sitting on the kid's bed, and it was like a bunch of police officers in front of us. And one of the police officers says, "What happened to mommy?" And my 4-year-old goes, "Daddy was like the Hulk," and he went like this, roar, and he threw mommy into the wall, and mommy said, boom, and she hit the wall, and then she fell down, and then mommy was looking, and mommy said, ouch, and then daddy went, I don't know, daddy went away. And so I remember the officer saying, "Where's your daddy?" And my son goes, "I don't know, daddy left." And all I heard after that was, "Scale the building." 15 floors. You've got officers throughout the building. 15 all the way down to the lobby. And all I like, it's, like I can remember little things, and I'm like, where did all these officers? I am confused. And 100 officers run out of my apartment, and I end up in the back of an ambulance with my baby in the emergency room. I couldn't tell you what happened after that. I don't know where my baby ended up. I don't know who came to get my baby. I just know we went together. I can't tell you the rest of the story after that. So, the dog, Astro. Eventually, because that day, I can't tell you what the day looked like. I can't remember. I know at some point I see Kristen again. Remember, that's the best friend that showed up at the apartment. Remember I told you that part? And so I see her again, and she has my older son, and I'm like, how did this happen? And she has my baby. And then I see my mom, and then I'm back home, and then I'm back in the hospital. It was crazy. And then my mom, I don't know how I get to my mom's house, but eventually I get to my mom's house, and I'm like people, they're trying to tell me what's going, what transpired the last, 2 days or whatever have you. They tell me he was arrested. And this is bad. This is a bigger deal than ever before. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm being asked, like, what did you tell 911? I'm like, I don't know, because I did not know. I don't know what happened. So, Child Protective Services had to get involved because there was a child in the house. And obviously the police, they have to report that. And so, I mean, when I tell you it was a disaster, and so now I'm like in and out of different hospitals. Now I'm up in Westchester with my mother and the kids, and I'm in yet another hospital. Nobody could figure, and so I'm like, why do I keep going to the hospital? And so my mom was like, no, nobody can figure out what's wrong with you. They can't find it. All of your tests are coming back negative, like something needs to come back. And it's almost like you pray for a clean bill of health, clean in air quotes. But in this case, we don't want things to come back negative. We need something so we know what the hell is going on with her, because clearly there's something wrong. and they couldn't figure it out. And so that's when my mom decided to take me to one hospital she took me to was like Westchester something something. But then she said, this is too far from my house. And then she took me back to her house. And all I remember being at her house, she's like, you cannot go back home to Manhattan. I just wanted to go home. And she said, you can't go home. You cannot go to that house by yourself. You're going to die. And I'm like, what? And she goes, I need to watch you. You and the kids need to stay here. And so while I was at her house, I ended up back at the hospital again, but a hospital closer to her, New Rochelle. I don't think it's called New Rochelle Hospital. What did they change it to? But nonetheless, she took me to New Rochelle Hospital. Now she just had to drop me off and leave me because she was with the kids. So now I'm back at the hospital, and that's when the whole breakdown of everything really started unfolding. And it was a long, long, long journey from there. The amount of testing that I had to do continually, let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September, but really August. For 4 months, I was like a lab rat. They tested me for everything under the microscope. I had to do all types of therapy. Let me explain something. For as long as I have breath and life in my body, I will never, ever, ever forget my life from April 2016 to current. Therapy. Now, when I say I was in therapy, I was not only in shrink therapy, you know what I'm saying, where I'm talking to like the psychiatrist and the psychologist. They put me on all this medication. This was my first time experiencing this. I was on so much medicine. It was driving me insane because I'm naturally not a medicine taker. So to have all this medicine, and I'm like, why am I taking all of this medicine? And I said, we got to end this. We got to end this. So all those meds went in the trash. So now that I'm coming to, we got to reevaluate this. Like you can't put all this medicine in my body and I don't understand. Okay? But the therapy I had to go through just to really communicate again was interesting. Let me see. I did speech therapy for 2 weeks because I couldn't really talk. They thought I had a stroke. So there's that testing. Of course, they tested me for all kinds of, looking for, just things associated with the brain and then let me tell you something. They really ran my body under a microscope. The hardest or the most challenging part of regaining life again was the learning to communicate part. My words were slurred. My focus was off. I couldn't really look at my phone. I couldn't really use technology. So if you called me during this time, you had to FaceTime me because I couldn't, talking on the phone I still don't really know how to explain that. So you had to FaceTime me. And if you didn't have FaceTime, we just couldn't, you had to call my mom. So a lot of people were calling my mother. It was tough. It was tough for about 4 months consistently Every week it was every other day I'm like downtown and here and there. And then one building had 3 doctors. So you go upstairs to this doctor, then downstairs and back upstairs. And then you had to deal with the court. Remember, this is a domestic violence situation. Hello? So when the DA's office sat me down, and he literally said to me, it's funny, I remember his name and everything. And he was like, I'm going to play. I'm not laughing. But you know when you watch a movie or a TV show and you hear them say, we're going to play back the 911 tape, and it just sounds so dramatic. I've never had a 911 tape play back for me. So it just sounded so weird. You know what I'm saying? And he goes, we're going to play back the 911 tape for you. So he brings a box of tissue. He's like, here's a box of tissue. I'm looking at him like, this is not Law and Order. Knock it off. And thank God he brought me the box of tissue, because I was there like, because I'm hearing myself, and I could hear my baby in the background. Anyway, the dog. That's why we're here. This story was about Astro. So once I started coming to, now, my mom is trusting me to be at my house by myself. And, I'm slowly, I'm like, I got to go back home because my kids, what was happening was my mom, she was bringing my son to school from Westchester to Manhattan every day. Westchester to Manhattan. And then, bringing him back home, up to Westchester and stopping at the house and getting clothes and all that stuff. And that's a lot. That's a lot every day. And so, he missed some days of school. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that is just all new. And so, she helped me kind of regain life back at home again with the children and all of that stuff. And I'm like, Astro? Did he die? I'm like, Astro, where are you? And so I'm like, Mom, where's the dog? And she goes, oh, my friend has the dog. Her friend. I was like, okay, well, tell your friend to give me my dog back. Like, I'm back home. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dog can come back home. And another week goes by, and I'm like, Amir, where's Astro? And he goes, I don't know. We keep asking Grandma, where's Astro? And she doesn't tell us. I don't know. And she said he was in the basement. But then I went to the basement and Astro wasn't there. I said, what do you mean Astro wasn't in the basement? I said, why would Astro be in the basement? So finally I said to my mother, I said, where is Astro? Well, she goes, I gave him away. I said, what do you mean you gave him away? Like, how do you just give away a dog like he was for free? Like, what do you mean? And then she said, well, I was freaking out. I didn't know if you were going to die. I didn't know what was going on. And you were in and out of the hospital. You were in and out of the hospital. And then I had the kids, and it was all so much for me. So I took him down to the adoption center around the corner, and I just dropped him off there. What did you just say? You took him to where? And you left him there? He's not at a friend's house that we can get him back? You're kidding. And we never saw Astro again. So, this dog, I feel like him and my children especially my little one, shared a soul. The dog used to sleep by the crib with the baby. The baby used to go into the dogs. We had like a little play area for the dog. The baby used to go in the play area. The dog wouldn't eat unless AJ was eating. Oh my God. The dog was everything to my kids, especially my little son. And so we still had all of Astro's toys and his food and all his clothes. We really, really love that dog. We really love the dog, especially my kids. I had to grow I had to grow into loving the dog, because when we first got the dog, it was supposed to be, like it was a lot happening. But my kids, oh my God, loved Astro. Loved Astro. Like Astro was the third child. So I had to tell the kids what happened to the dog. And how many years later are we from 2016? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 6 years. 6 years later, and my kids are still horribly affected by not having Astro. So much so that my 13-year-old, last school year, he was in 7th grade. And one of the writing exercises that he had to do in his English class was to write about a time of I don't remember what it was per se, but he had to write about a traumatizing time. And he wrote about Astro just last school year. My younger son, when he, when he likes to look at old photos, and when he sees photos of Astro and him, he's very, very, very sad. Sometimes he gets a little teary-eyed. He's getting a little stronger now, but if we see dogs that look like Astro, he gets really sad and he begs me, "Mommy, can we please get another dog? I want a dog just like Astro." So, we never saw Astro again. And it's really heartbreaking. It is very, very heartbreaking. And I found myself looking at dogs that looked like Astro, thinking it was Astro, and I didn't want to be weird. And I'd be like, "Astro." Because, you don't know who adopted Astro. You know what I'm saying? And so I called the adoption place in New Rochelle. Now, I don't know if we'll ever see Astro again. So I called the adoption place in New Rochelle, and I pled my story to this really nice woman over the phone. And I said, at this point, because he was brought to this place, this adoption center, or whatever it's called for dogs, animals, I said, if he was adopted by a family, I understand it. I'm not asking for him back because I don't want a family to think I'm just going to try and steal this dog away from him. But I just want to know that Astro is okay. I would love my kids to have proper closure because this is traumatic. At this point, we had moved out here. So this is, leading to how I ended up in California, because my cousin who was living out here called me, and the rest is history, and that's another story, because that's another long story for another day. So the nice lady on the phone said to me, "Oh my gosh, I remember when Astro came here. Oh, he was such a good dog. He never barked and all this stuff." She said he was adopted by a lovely family. And I said, "Oh my God, that's so good." And so I told the kids, and they were so happy and sad at the same time. They were happy to know that a good family got them. They were sad because, they were never going to see Astro again. And so I talked to a girlfriend of mine who's like, "Oh my God," she's like, she's you think you're a dog lover, she's bigger than you. She's a bigger dog lover. And she said, "No, we're gonna find the dog." And this is before TikTok, and TikTok wasn't around, or at least it wasn't a thing. And this is at this point it was 2018. And she said, "We're gonna put a post on Facebook, and I'm gonna put flyers out, and we're gonna find this dog, and we're gonna reunite you, even if it's just for your kids to have, a relationship with the family and all that stuff." And at the time, life was life, and for me, so it was hard for me to really follow up on that. And she called, and she said, "I'm not gonna stop calling," and now we're here. So we think about Astro. I don't know how we would ever see Astro again. I don't know what the possibilities are for my children to ever see Astro again. I don't know where he is. He could be anywhere. And there was a story. There was a story at some point during COVID. I think it was during high time COVID, so like 2020. And there was a dog. Good morning, Auntie Melba. Shout out to the room. I haven't said that in a while. So there was a story out here in Los Angeles about a dog who ran away. And the dog was like on the highway, and I think it was on the 10 freeway. And you see like the ABC chopper on top, and you see this little dog, and the dog's name was Astro. And I'm watching the news, and I said, "It's Astro." I didn't tell the kids though, because I didn't want to give them any false hope. And all I'm doing is watching, and I said, "Oh my God, what if that's my Astro? What if he was adopted in New Rochelle, and the family that adopted him never changed his name, kept his name. They moved to California, and now Astro feels our spirit, and he's running on the highway looking for us." And when I tell you the dog looked like Astro, I was like, "Oh my God, that's my Astro." How would I know? So ever since then, 2020, I want to say it was like, I got to find the story, but I know it was during COVID, high time COVID. And so that's why when I see dogs here in Los Angeles that look like Astro, I think it's Astro. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I already saw the story with the dog running on the highway. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Astro is here. But they can't tell me. I called the adoption place back, and, this was during COVID now, and everything is different and all types of stuff. So if there's anybody watching this, I don't know at this point. Excuse me. I don't know if at this point, if anything, excuse me again. I don't know if anything can be done to find my dog. I don't know. I don't know. I know there's really great stories that you see on TV, and, people reuniting with family members and pets and loved ones and all that stuff. But I don't know. But what I will say is, I never knew the relationship of a family pet and children, and what that actually would do and could do to me as an adult and to my children until we didn't have him. And here we are 6 years later, and my children are still deeply affected. And right now, present day, you know, when the kids ask for a dog again, it's a little bit more difficult now to make the adjustment. For one, I can't afford to go get a dog. Let's wake that up. I can't afford to really maintain a dog. Let's wake that up again. And my schedule is very, very, you know, you guys know I work a lot. And so life right now to maintain a dog is just going to be almost impossible. So although the kids are older and can walk the dog and all those things, shout out to Auntie Melba for lightening up the mood. I needed that. She says, Astro found a wife and living his best life. Pets become family. Yes, they do. So, you know, we're 6 years later. At the time, Astro, so back in 2016, Astro was 2 years old. 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Astro would be about 8 years old right now. I don't know if Astro's alive. I know nothing. But I do know that I see my children, and you know, you can see the emotional damage that caused. And all of this is a trickle effect. So I can't really blame my mom. I mean, I wish she didn't give the dog to the damn adoption place. Like, you know, ask a friend to hold the dog down for a minute. So, one day I'll get dogs. You know, they want more than one dog. They'll settle with one, but you know, my baby, my little son, who the 10-year-old, you know, his love for animals, I always tell people, I said, I used to get so nervous thinking, you know, how you tell children, don't accept candy from a stranger's. I used to have to tell my son, AJ, if you see somebody with a pet, you cannot go with them. You cannot, cause my kids don't really eat candy. So I never had the candy talk. Don't accept candy from strangers. AJ, do not accept pets from strangers. If you see anybody with any kind of animal, you cannot go to them. They're not your friend. Like, my little son is a big animal lover, and he really loves dogs. And so a couple of years ago, he said, Mommy, he goes, Mommy, I want you to have a house on a farm. I said, hello? And he goes, I want us to live in a really, really big house. And he tells me all the things he wants in a house. And then he goes, I wanted to have a really, 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 really big backyard, like all the way over there. And I said, okay, what are we going to do with all that backyard? And he goes, Mommy, this is what I want. I want 5 dogs. I said, holy Christ, 5? And he said, I want 5 dogs. I want a dog like Astro. He goes, no, I want 2 dogs like Astro. I want, so one could sleep in the bed and one could sleep on the side of my bed. Because remember, I told you Astro used to sleep at the foot of his bed. Well, started off sleeping at the foot of his crib, and then would, you know, when the crib was converted, he would sleep at the foot of the crib. That was as close to being in a bed that I was going to get. Then he said, I want a dog to scare off the mean people. I want a dog that I could ride on. So he wants a Great Dane. And then he said he wants a dog for the yard. I said, for the yard? He goes, yeah. You know, Mommy, the dogs that go and run with the chickens and the horses. I said, hello? Excuse me? Wait, where's the chickens? He goes, oh, because I want chickens? He goes, I want a couple of chickens? No. He said roosters. Want some roosters. He said, I want a donkey. I want a horse. I want a pony. And he said, I want a pond with fishies. Anyway, we revisited that conversation recently. I said, AJ, do you still want me to live in a big house with all these animals? And he goes, what are you talking about? So I played back because I started videotaping it. And I said, you really essentially wanted me to live on a farm. And he started cracking up. I said, do you also still want 5 dogs? He goes, 5 dogs? I said, so I ran off the reasonings of the 5 dogs. And he said, no. And I said, these are the dogs you wanted. He goes, well, Great Danes are really, really big. And he goes, it would be cool to have one of those. And he goes, I definitely want 2 dogs so they could play with each other. He goes, and then this is the 10-year-old present day. He goes, you think you can find Astro? Anyway, that's the end of the story. And that is the end of story time. So if there's anybody out there that knows how or what the possibility is of us just knowing that Astro is okay and he's alive, or, you know, he's with a great family, or, you know, just whatever's going on with Astro, I don't know. I don't know what I can do. I don't know how, you know, this is at this point for my kids. Mental health is really important. And I do feel in my heart that, you know, when I see my kids drifting off, when they see other people with their dogs, or, you know, we're out somewhere and, you know, they see dogs that look like Astro, I definitely can see the little pain in their faces, wondering if that's Astro. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you are here and you have any tips or advice, please send me a message. I saw there was a lot of conversation happening in the chat. I'm very sorry that I have not acknowledged or read a lot of what you said. I know there was a lot going on when I was talking about my unfortunate domestic violence situation. If you shared your own personal story in here live, I just want to say thank you for sharing it with the room who's watching live. You know, domestic violence is not something to ever joke about. If you are involved in a domestic violence situation, please resource help. I'm not ever in a position to tell people to leave, but leave. Everybody has their own circumstances. You know, I was in my whole situation for 10 years. So I would never want somebody to do as I did. And because I know better, I give the advice in which I think would help, because I had wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people in my life, and I still do, who begged, pleaded, cried, damn near dragged me out to leave, and I stayed. Only you know why you're there. Stress will kill you. Okay? Stress will kill you. And I'm a living testimony, and I'm so grateful to life. And for all of you that are a Tasha troop and you are on, you know, you're here with me. Let me pin this. Thank you for that, Rick. There is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Listen, putting your hands on people is not right. And I did my fair share of that. And I will not sit here and tell a story and omit anything. Okay? I'm not making an excuse, so please spare me in saying, you know, Taj, you know, you hit somebody and that's wrong. And I did my fair share of that. And it just increasingly got worse. And, you know, while I did my fair share of putting my hands on somebody's grown son did his fair share in putting his hands on me. And it just became a very violent and toxic situation. And then you mend it, and then you're good for a little while, and then it goes back. You know, women who are going through postpartum depression, if you are a man in this room and you just had a baby with a woman, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, whomever, you are living in a house with your sister whomever you live with right now, please understand and really understand what postpartum depression is. That's a whole nother topic we really need to dig into as well. There's a lot of layers to life that I don't think are loudly spoken about on a normal level. I'm a normal person. I'm Natasha Simona. I'm your friend. I'm normal. Do you know what I'm saying when I say I'm normal? Like there's no there's no endorsements behind me. There's no script in front of me. I'm telling you a very personal experience, and I share my life and I share my stories because if I can help one person, I don't care how many times this video is going to be rewatched, replayed, recycled, cut up. If I can help one person, that's literally why I'm living. And so if you have a story and you are a survivor of anything, I implore you to share. We don't live this life alone. We're not here. We're not meant to live this life alone. All those people who say we're born alone, we're going to die alone. Please get that mentality out of your head. You might be born alone. If you're a twin, you're born with a twin, but you are born amongst people. We all are here to help each other. Do you understand me? Oh, didn't I tell you I had clothes in the washing machine? Let me explain something to you. If you are the friend who has witnessed, or family member or child who has witnessed domestic violence, and you tried your hardest to get people out of those situations, do not take it personally that they don't listen to you and they don't leave. Never, ever, ever give up on your people. No matter how frustrated you are, no matter how much it pains you, you never, ever give up on the people that you love. There are certain things that we will not understand. Nobody for the life of them could understand why I stayed for as long as I did and just kept going on with the cycle. Having baby number 2, and baby number 2 was planned. Some things you will question and you might, gossip to the other family members and other friends about, and you just don't understand it. There are some things that are not meant for you to understand, but if you love your people, you never give up on them. Okay? There is the National Domestic Hotline pinned at the bottom. Thank you to Rick Party who put that there. I wish I could pin 2 links because the National Suicide Hotline should be up there as well. Rick, if you're still in the room, can you put both? Can you put the domestic hotline and the suicide hotline in one in one thing, and I'll pin it. If you don't think those two are closely related, boy, do I have some stories for you. I'm going to address the question box. Let's see what all is going on here. The duo collab, she says, hi, my love. Didn't get a chance to hear your story, but thank you. You are probably helping more than you ever know. God bless. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Marissa Tingy Podcast. She gave me how to say her name, and I forget. Sorry, Marissa. She says, brava to you, Tosh, for sharing this. Someone hearing this is going to get out of their abusive situation. Listen, what's the point in having social media and not using it responsibly? I'm not a braggadocious person. I'm not going to only show you when I have shiny things, although I don't get much shiny things at all. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're living real life. So we have to talk about real life things. Do you know what I'm saying? Who am I to not share? Who am I to sit here? Thank you, Rick. Who am I to sit here and laugh and do all my silly things and not help by sharing a piece of my life? Life isn't always about the filters and the shiny things, but life is also not the gory stories either. We've got to create a proper balance. We have to humanize. Like, I feel like life is not humanized anymore. We're so used to living behind filters. We're so used to glamorizing every freaking thing that we have. I'm not with the shits. Pardon my language. I'm just not with the shits. Do you know what I'm saying? Hello? So I share because when I was fighting, I would go online. I felt like such an anomaly. Who else is going through issues in their relationship? Who else is being cheated on the way on? Who else is being disrespected this way? Who else is going through domestic violence situations? Who else? So what would I do? I would turn to social media. And social media seems so far and just I'm never going to be as happy as her. And these are my friends. This is before, we were friending strangers. Do you know what I'm saying? And then what was happening, Tosh, we got to get together for drinks and dinner. And I would get together with people who would post all these lovely images of their husbands and wives and all of those things. And then we'd be sitting there chatting and catching up. And there I am talking about how destructive my relationship and disrespectful. And they're like indulging in the story. And they're like, oh my God, you got to leave him. You got to leave him. He's horrible. He's this, he's that. I can't believe he brought a woman to your house. And he told his family what? And his family said what? And you hit him and he kicked you in the face and he kicked you in the stomach and he punched you and you hit him back. And oh my God. And like I was like a goddamn soap opera, right? Because my stories were better to tell than their stories. Huh. So then when I asked them how they were doing, they're going through their own set of mess. I said, well, the other day you posted you were in like Turks and Caicos and you guys were happy. Girl, that was just a show for the internet. What? I be damned. So I would sit in my closet. I would sit in my closet with my phone. And I'd just be crying. I'm an anomaly. I'm the only person in all of my circles going through what I'm going through. I'm an anomaly. This is embarrassing. I just want to leave here. I don't deserve to live. Those are real thoughts. And so I said, if I ever survive this, I promise that if I ever had the opportunity to get back into broadcasting and I can be on a stage or be anywhere where people can hear me and see me, I promise to share my life as truthful as I'm possibly allowed so that I can help somebody. I will never glamorize my life fictitiously. Now, that doesn't mean you need to just air out all your damn dirty laundry. But I'm never going to glamorize a situation that doesn't exist. I'm not going to post a photo of me and my partner a day after we got into a crazy fight. That's deceitful to me and to the world. How are people going to help you? They can't. Your life is beautiful because you keep posting the good stuff. Not to say you should be posting the bad stuff. Don't post it all. Use your social media. Ask for help. Type help. And so I started doing that. I need help. Send. And once I started becoming transparent and learning how to properly write my story, I started receiving help. And while I was receiving help, I was helping other people. Like, people would message me and say, you sharing that story helped, and insert whatever, help me bring my life into perspective, help this, help that, all that. And then you have other people. You shouldn't post your life like that. Not everybody needs to know your business. And you're right. Not everybody needs to know my business, but it's my business. Not everybody needs to know your business. And you're choosing not to share your business. And that's fine. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but don't tell me how to live mine. Because once I started receiving messages from people letting me know that me sharing my story helped them, I never stopped. And as I started journeying and figuring out how to shift my career from the beauty industry back into broadcasting, because I want to die doing broadcasting, and what does that look like now? Because when I started broadcasting, we had no social media. And it was just a different world. So what does me going back into broadcasting look like now? And how do I shift from beauty back into all that stuff? I started learning how to share my life. And I said, I'm doing this for more than the inner radio Natasha in me that wants to be back on radio, the inner Natasha that wants to be on television so I can be like Rolanda Watts. It was more. And I knew that I wanted to have a platform to share my life so that I can help people and be people's big sister, little sister, best friend, mommy friend, whatever. Just act normal. I'm not crying, okay? Just act normal. And so I'm not afraid to talk clearly. I'm not afraid to talk about my life because there's somebody else that looks like me that feels the way I felt, like they are an anomaly, and you're not. With how many billions of people that live on this earth, trust and believe the life you are living is a duplicate to someone somewhere. And they're not going to make it. But you are. You're going to make it. And they're not going to make it. And while we all can share these horrific stories, there's someone that can't share it with us because they didn't make it. We all don't have the same kind of strength. We all don't have the same kind of access. We all don't have the same mental stability and ability to see past what we're going through today. And because of that, I share more than ever. Because what is the point of my life being spared? I should have died. Spare me of telling me don't say that. Listen to what I'm saying. I was fighting in an isolation room in the hospital. They had no idea what was wrong with me, and I'm fighting and my body is shaking. And they're about to pump the damn, what is it called? The defibrillator machine into me. And the doctor, I will never forget the doctor screaming to them, saying, "Stop." And this doctor looked at me. It was a Brazilian doctor, and I don't remember his name. Maybe I should call the hospital and try and pull my record and get his name. But all I remember is he looked over my body and he said to me, "You're going to pull through this." And then they put all types of shit in my body, all types of plugs and stuff up my nose and in my mouth. And I was like a science project. In that moment, my life was spared. Okay? So, I'm going to talk until I die. I don't know when that is. Knock on wood. Spare my life for a really long time because I want to be a grandma. All jokes aside, we don't know when our expiration date is, and until then, do the work. This is the work. This is the work. If you want to see me talk about fictitious, glamorous things, this is not the show for you. It's not. Because in the same breath that I can talk about glamorous things, I'm going to talk to you about life, and this is real life. Now listen, it is 53 after the hour. I know I started the show late today. I'm wearing last night's makeup. I just got into my house 2.5 hours ago, 3 hours ago at this point. I have to go wake up my children because it's a school day, and I have to move those clothes from the washing machine to the dryer. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude this show. Let's see something here.
Sit back and relax. It's time for the Natasha Simona sequence.
I need to see if if I have an ending. Rick, if you're still in the room, I need a drop. I need an ending. And that concludes the Natasha Simona sequence. I need an ending. I need a good closeout. Shout out to everybody that's watching me live right now, that's in the chat. I know that I know that conversations were happening in here on your own. And although I'm definitely going to apologize for not reading all of your amazing, brave stories that you shared. I know that, you know, the chat holes, you guys have your own relationships in there. And I really love that. I love that you've been sharing. And, you know, once I take my glasses off, I can't see. And, you know, I've been sitting here without my glasses. And, you know, listen, if we can build a really great community here, I know you guys have a community that you are built off of elsewhere, and that's amazing. And now you all are here, and then there's more people mixed into that community fold. We're all here, each one to each one. Thank you for sharing your story. For people who are watching that didn't comment, I appreciate you for just being here and watching and listening. For people who are going to listen to this on the audio version, if you want to watch live, you got to follow me on YouTube and Instagram. Right now, this is the second day that I'm doing the morning show. Excuse me. It's called the Natasha Simona Sequence. Everybody has a show, and that's beautiful and amazing. For everybody that has a show, I have a sequence. Hello? I have a sequence. This is the Natasha Simona Sequence, not to be confused with everybody that has a show. I have the Natasha Simona Sequence. Thank you very much. So if you want to be part of the live sequence, follow my YouTube. I will be going live on YouTube starting, you know, I got to order these cables. So once I get these cables in properly, I will be on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, Instagram. So, you know, I understand that Instagram, you know, you guys cannot swipe out of here and kind of navigate on your phone. If you have ADD like me, you want to like kind of do a bunch of things and listen at the same time. So I will be over on YouTube. So run over to YouTube, follow me on YouTube. My name over there is Natasha Simona. That's it. You find me on YouTube. You can also click the link in the bio, and all of my availability is there. Thank you for everybody that supports me. You know, you do a bunch of stuff. You find me, you support me, because this show is literally powered by you. So people who reach out to me and say, sis, I want to sew into you and I want to sew into things. And, you know, you are literally part of the beginning of my journey. And I'm very, very grateful for all of you. Just act normal. I'm not crying at all. Just act normal. So I just want to say thank you for people who say we want more. How? I want to sew into this. I want to see you do more. You know, the gifts that I've been getting, it's like weird and crazy. And I say weird because it's like, hello? So I'm looking at one now. Look at my amazing fog machine that activated my damn fire alarm. Listen. We're not going to talk about all that stuff and leave this day on a heavy note. We're going to laugh. Okay. So shout out to everybody. And while I'm sitting here, I really would love to know, let's open this right now. I was gifted this beautiful tumbler. And I cannot, Mrs. Preston said that. So shout out to Mrs. Preston. She heard me say that I wanted to get a fog machine. And she said, okay, well, we're not waiting for the fog machine. You're going to get it. And she goes, drop me a mailing address because you're getting this fog machine. I was like, hello? So shout out to Mrs. Preston. She said she's not responsible for my smoke detector going off. Now, listen to me. I received this lovely, lovely tumbler. I know it's kind of hard to see, but if you look at it, it says Tasha Troops. I'm going to turn it sideways. Can you all see that? It's very, very beautiful. Daisy said they sent it without an address. It came directly from the manufacturing. And inside was this. I know the chat is kind of moving and I'm not looking. If you see somebody say it was me, please let me know. or if you're watching this and you're not actively part of the chat, please DM me because I really would like to thank you. But if you're going to stay anonymous, thank you so much for sending this to me. I was so blown away to tears. You know I cry. And it says Tasha Troops. I know it's changed, because of the camera, but Tasha Troops. And it's a tumbler for me to put, my tea, my matcha, my coffee, anything. And it came with these 2 straws. These 2 reusable straws. So I just want to say thank you to whomever had this custom made for me. I mean, I looked all throughout the box, even just now as I cut this open. And this is just a card to show how to take care of it. So I am so, so, so grateful. So grateful. Thank you, Lisa. Liz Marie. Thank you. Okay, everybody. I got to go and transfer these clothes before my son has no gym clothes and then he gets a mark on gym and then I somehow get in trouble. I want to say thank you so much for everything. Somebody said that's merch. No, I swear to God, somebody gifted this to me. If it was merch, you think I'd be sitting here talking about it? I'd be like, go buy the mug for this amount of money. Look, get a buy. I don't have any merch as yet. Somebody sent this to me. And I think it's really, really sweet. So no, it's not me being slick. I'm genuinely very grateful for this gift. And now that I've cut it open out of the plastic, I'm going to make my matcha and drop my kids to school. Oh, shoot. Leslie and I are supposed to get together. Okay, it's time for me to go. Everybody, thank you so much for your support. The link to everything I have going on is in my bio. Feel free to go visit over there. And you'll see. You can find me on Clubhouse and TikTok and all types of stuff. Everybody, please subscribe to the YouTube page. I know a lot of you like to, move about and do things with your day while you're watching and listening. This will be repurposed on my audio podcast. And because now it's later on in the day, because I am late in my day, for those of you waiting for it to be on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all those things, just give me some time so I could cut this up and produce it down. I sent you a temporary show close. Where did you send it so we can play it? Please tell me where you sent it because I will play it right now. Everybody stand by and let's see. Rick, send it to me where you send. You did. You're so smart. Rick, I love you.
Well, that's going to be a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Natasha Simone Experience. 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific, till whenever she decides to get off. Listen, make sure you like, share, and tell your friends about it. This has been the Natasha Simone Experience.
Oh my God! That happened live. So we will be back tomorrow at 4:30. So in one of my posts, I did say 45 after the hour, but the little tweak that I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it on the 30 because it's just like easy to remember. I feel like 45 is such an odd number, like literally. So shout out to Rick. He didn't know that. This was like an impromptu. That was so freaking cool. We're going to play it again. So listen, yes, epic as always. Everybody go follow Rick Party if you're interested in voiceover, if you're interested in metaverse activities, if you're interested in listening to the radio guy that you've been hearing probably your whole lives. If you're from Chicago, he has a show on 104.3 Jams. I know it comes on at 8 o'clock my time, so I don't know what time that is Chicago time, but look it up. Download the Odyssey app if you want to hear more of Rick Party. He's on 104.3 Jams, and he's on another station in Seattle that I can't remember right now, later on in the day. So go over to Rick Party, follow him. He's super dope, and he trains me every day. You heard that correctly. Every day we go through broadcast training, so specifically for radio, but it's broadcasting. So we're going to play that one more time, and I'm going to get out of here. Everybody, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting me, loving on me, and allowing me to talk to you so early. Thank you for entertaining the Natasha Simona sequence. And here we go. And then I'm going to click off because I got to transfer these.
Well, that's going to be a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Natasha Simona Experience, 7:45 Eastern, 4:45.
Did you say the Natasha Simona Experience? It's the Natasha Simona sequence. Hello? Let me not interrupt him before he kills me. Here we go.
Well, that's going to be a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Natasha Simona Experience, 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific, till whenever she decides to get off. Listen, make sure you like, share, and tell your friends about it. This has been the Natasha Simona Experience.
I love Rick Party. We got to do that over, Rick, because it is the Natasha Simona sequence. We'll be back here tomorrow, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Everybody have an amazing, amazing, amazing day. Reach out and call someone. Today is the National Day of Forgiveness. Start with yourself and call someone, mend a relationship, and move on and enjoy some chocolate milk, because it is also National Chocolate Milk Day. Everybody, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.